Coming up on the Rockbridge Report. The Rockbridge Area Relief Organization is getting a little help from our local gardeners. We'll show you how it helps families.
Rockbridge County Schools just received last year's Standard of Learning tests. I sit down with the Rockbridge Report's Polly Noskova and Katie Wilds to find out what that means for local schools.
Have you ever taken your kids trick-or-treating at the bank? We'll show you how downtown Buena Vista is preparing for the trick-or-treaters this weekend. All that and more is next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Kinsey Grant.
And I'm Reed Gady. The Republican presidential candidates are handicapping their performance after last night's debate on CNBC. Andrew Spencer reports much of it focused on economic issues.
The Republican frontrunner Ben Carson stayed his low-key self Wednesday night when CNBC moderator Becky Quick challenged Carson on his flat tax rate plan. He argued it would work with spending cuts and economic stimulus.
We have 645 federal agencies and sub-agencies. Anybody who tells me that we need every penny in every one of those is in a fantasy world.
You'd have to cut government by about 40% to make it work with a $1.1 trillion hole.
It's not true.
It is true. I looked at the numbers.
When we put all of the facts down, you'll be able to see that it's not true. It works out very well.
Uncharacteristically, Donald Trump also kept himself mostly low-key. He directed his only attacks at Governor John Kasich.
He was so nice. He was such a nice guy. And he said, oh, I'm never going to attack. But then his poll numbers tanked. That's why he's on the end. And he got nasty.
Much of the debate focused on money, taxes, and the national debt.
They say there's no bipartisanship in Washington. We have a $19 trillion bipartisan debt, and it continues to grow as we borrow money from countries that do not like us to pay for government we cannot afford.
When Jeb Bush touted his record of cutting taxes, the moderator asked if he would consider a deal with Democrats that would raise taxes $1 for every $10 of spending cuts.
You find a Democrat that's for cutting taxes, cutting spending $10, I'll give him a warm kiss.
Thank you, Governor. Carl?
Carly Fiorina says politicians have talked about tax reform for decades.
There are loads of great ideas, great conservative ideas from wonderful think tanks about how to reform the tax code. The problem is we never get it done.
She says it will take a strong leader to do just that. I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
Scary moments today on a runway in Florida this afternoon. Several people were injured when a passenger plane caught fire today at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. The fire occurred at around 12:30 p.m. as the Dynamic Airways Boeing 767 was departing for Caracas, Venezuela. Officials say the pilot in the plane behind the burning aircraft reported fuel was leaking from the plane before it caught fire. 7 people were injured and 3 of those required hospitalization.
This Sunday, members of the Lexington community will be going the extra mile. Lexington Mayor Mimi Elrod proclaimed November 1st to be Extra Mile Day and encouraged community members to lend a helping hand and to contribute to the betterment of the entire city on this day. This movement was started by Extra Mile America, a nonprofit organization that encourages people all over the country to do their part to make their cities great. Over 500 cities will be participating in the event on Sunday.
The full House of Representatives has officially approved Wisconsin Congressman Paul Ryan's nomination for House Speaker today. He takes over for John Boehner as the 54th House Speaker. House Republicans nominated Ryan Wednesday in a secret ballot vote. They chose him overwhelmingly over Florida Republican Daniel Webster. Boehner gave a farewell address as Speaker before the vote today. It comes a day after the House approved a significant budget deal he negotiated with President Obama and congressional Democrats. The legislation, which eliminates the possibility of a default and decreases the chance of a government shutdown, effectively gives Ryan a fresh start. The food pantry at the Rockbridge Area Relief Association, RARA, receives plenty of excess garden and produce each week from 2 local gardeners with a passion for providing. Emma Deal has the story.
The Rockbridge Area Relief Association, or RARA, is an emergency relief agency that provides a number of assistive services. Each week, its food pantry offers large amounts of fresh produce to its clients, thanks to 2 local gardeners who feel passionately about providing healthy, organic options. The first is Jim Kovach, who served on RA's board of directors for 6 years. His term may be up, but his involvement did not stop there. Kavach has a garden of more than a half acre and has been donating fruits and vegetables to the food pantry since 2007. This year, his donations reached an all-time high of over 5,000 pounds.
Lots of strawberries, squash, tomatoes, peppers, and on and on and on. Nothing is more basic than being able to eat, and to eat as well as you can. It's worked out, and it's worked out well for everyone. People get fresh food, and I get to live my dream and exercise my passion out there in the garden.
Kavach's friend and RA volunteer Jim Zimmerman said Kavach inspired him. In July, Zimmerman began giving the food pantry the excess from his garden and now drops off produce from over 14 gardeners in the Brownsburg area. As of last week, they had donated nearly 800 pounds.
Any gardener can tell you that one of the greatest joys that they have is just giving their vegetables away. You always have more vegetables than you can use.
Zimmerman has expanded the project to collect more than just garden produce. After seeing a need for household and personal hygiene items, he asked Brownsburg community members to help. So far, they've gathered 14 pounds of toiletries, hundreds of greeting cards, about a dozen calendars, and books. Food pantry manager Dick Reese said items like these always go fast because they are expensive. He said Kavach and Zimmerman have been instrumental in helping the organization reinforce nutrition, one of its fundamental goals.
It's an unbelievable added choice for the people out there, healthy food, which is something they're sorely in need of.
For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Emma Deal.
After the break.
It's a beautiful day out here in Lexington, and I'll have the 5-day forecast coming up. Stay tuned.
And we'll show you how the Palms in downtown Lexington is doing almost 2 years after a shift in ownership and management.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary. Smokey. Only you can prevent wildfires.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
He's on his way. He doesn't even know that we're here. Is he okay? Please tell me he's okay.
Laura.
Okay, try to call him again.
There's no signal.
Try.
Nothing's working.
Well, just
Everything's down.
This is so bad. He's out there by himself.
Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov.
A downtown Lexington restaurant is undergoing some major updates, but new owners are careful to preserve the Lexington tradition's familiar feel. Taylor Galata and I found out more. The Palms restaurant in downtown Lexington has been opened for 75 years, but it's not resting on its laurels.
Just improving the image is a short-term impact. If you're not putting it on the plate and you're not giving them the service at the table, over the long term, your business will start reducing. Doesn't matter how pretty. It's like slapping lipstick on a pig. It doesn't make them but so cute, right?
Giovanni Canada is the operations manager for K&R Restaurants. The Stanton-based group bought the Palms in December of 2013. Kanata said K&R is focused on refining the brand and improving customer experience.
When we first came in, it was run a lot more like a diner than it was a full-service restaurant. So there was no computer system. Everything was handwritten. All inventories were handwritten. All checks were handwritten. There were no table numbers. There were no sections.
Kanata said K&R worked diligently to bring the Palms into a new era of dining out, while upholding its sense of tradition.
We didn't want to come in here and make any broad, sweeping changes that would alienate the customer base that had been here in supporting this business for so long.
And the customers are eating it up.
They are doing a very fine job of amping up the menu.
Kanata said a changing market has forced restaurateurs to focus on brand and value.
Guests value their dollar more than they ever have.
With major improvements to guest service and product quality, the Palms is poised to prosper.
Long-term outcome is to remain in business as long as we can, continue to be profitable, all the while continuing to develop and grow the business and stay relevant in the marketplace.
So we've had quite a bit of rain these last few days, Athena. Can we expect a break?
Well, for sure. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. We've actually had quite a breezy day today with a temperature, with a high temperature at 67 and low at 39. The wind is blowing southwest at 14 miles per hour and gusting to 20 miles per hour, and humidity at 32%. Zooming out to the region, we have a pretty good look, very sunny throughout the region, but we do have some cloudy weather down in Roanoke area, Lynchburg, and Buena Vista. And going on to our satellite view, we can see that some moist clouds are coming through our region, and that will signal some more humidity this afternoon. And now moving on to our 5-day forecast. Friday and Saturday, we have very sunny weather, and the high temperature is at high 50s. And Sunday, there's a 60% chance of rain. But Monday and Tuesday, we can see that the sun will come back out and the temperature will come back up to the low 60s. And that's it for weather. Back to you, Kenzie and Reed.
Looks like we got some good weather on the way. Thanks, Athena. Residents of the Rockbridge area are coming together to take control of their own energy conservation, to their own energy consumption. The Rockbridge Area Conservation Council, known as RAC, recently formed a solar panel co-op that includes people who are interested in switching to solar energy. Solar panel co-ops help save money on solar panels through bulk buying. Another discount, the 30% tax credit, runs out at the end of next year if Congress doesn't renew it. RAC's co-op has over 80 people signed up and is holding a meeting next Thursday to sign up more people. Coming up, we'll show you his plans after Bucky Joyce retires as Commonwealth's attorney next week.
Our very own reporters Polly Noskova and Katie Wilds will tell you about local schools and their SOL test scores. And later, just how much you have to pay to go see the World Series.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your GED.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future and sign up for free classes now at yourged.org.
If you store your guns properly, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
No more pencils, no more books.
No more teachers, dirty looks.
School's out for summer.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%. To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org because great things happen when we live united.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Washington and Lee alum Matt Bevin is running for governor of Kentucky. He graduated from W&L in 1989 and commissioned as an officer in the Army for 4 years. Now, he's building his campaign around his Christian faith. Bevin has come out in support of Kentucky clerk Kim Davis. In a debate with Democratic candidate Jack Conway, he also voiced his support of medical marijuana. Public polls show Bevin only slightly behind Conway.
The Virginia Department of Education released annual SOL results on Tuesday. 3 of the 4 Rockbridge County schools previously accredited with warning are now fully accredited. Administrators attribute this progress to improvements in reading and writing and are working to continue this effort. Natural Bridge Elementary is again accredited with warning. I sat down with our reporters Polly Noskova and Katie Wilds to see what this all means.
It's a grade system given to schools based on the percentage of students that pass the SOLs every year.
Okay, so what are the penalties for not meeting accreditation?
If you don't meet it or you're accredited with warning, you usually meet with a state consultant who comes to your school once a month or once every 2 months just to check in that you're making improvements, really making the effort to put programs in, whether it's on reading, writing, math, whatever subjects that you really need to focus on.
Okay, so did the rankings show anything new from last year?
Well, for the 2013 and 14 school year, 4 local schools were accredited with warning. Those were Central Elementary, Fairfield Elementary, Natural Bridge Elementary, and Murray River Middle School. This past year, all 3 out of the 4 schools were fully accredited, all except for Natural Bridge Elementary.
Okay. If you're accredited with warning and you get the title of a designated focus school, what does that mean?
So Natural Bridge last year was a designated focus school and is going to continue being that this year again. So they really focus on putting in reading programs for the students and working with the high school, Murray River Middle School did that last year as well. They focus on writing all the time, whether it was in PE classes, study halls. They really took that initiative, and schools have been hiring more teachers to focus on those with the students. So it's really just putting that extra effort out there.
Okay. Is consensus that this test is a fair way to measure school success?
In discussion with Superintendent Scott Jeffries and Superintendent Donald, it was kind of talking about, there are improvements that have been made with it. I think people are becoming more, happier with it. Now, they voted on October 27th, the Virginia Department of Education, to agree on a new way of accrediting schools. It's more of scaffolding now, so you can have provisional accreditation, which allows you to be plus or minus within certain points within the benchmark to get accreditation, whereas before was more of a rigid standard.
Okay. So what have the schools done this year to raise their test scores and to gain accreditation?
Well, beyond having the new policy changes that have attributed to the rising test scores, schools are implementing new activities. For example, Central has blocks of time during every day where students work with teachers in small groups, whether they need help on SOLs or enrichment activities. And Central also has implemented a system where teachers specialize either in English and social studies or math and science, so that students travel between each teacher and teachers don't have to plan for 4 different lessons a day.
Bucky Joyce says he is not interested in the judgeship position that will be open at the end of the year. He is retiring, and so is Circuit Court Judge Michael Irvin. Joyce has been Commonwealth's attorney for almost 12 years. The race to succeed him is between Joyce's chief deputy, Chris Billius, and attorney Josh Elrod. Elrod failed to unseat Joyce in the election 4 years ago.
When we come back, we'll look at the World Series and sports.
And we'll show you how Buena Vista is gearing up for Halloween. And later, reporter Mac Trammell sits down with Buena Vista Police Chief Keith Hartman.
Jimmy can't sing, and Tommy can't dance, so we're gonna put some ants in their pants. Aww.
Kids will spend 22 minutes watching us, the super duper party troopers, sing about ants in their pants.
Isn't that funny? Ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time. Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care of people for goodness sake.
There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat.
Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
How much would you pay to go to the World Series?
Our sports anchor Kieran McQuilkin has that and some scores for your local sports.
So, what's it worth to have front row seats at the World Series? For a couple of New York Mets fans, the answer is $17,000 each. 2 seats behind home plate at Game 3 sold on StubHub for $17,533 apiece. The original ticket price was less than $700. Compare that to the most expensive Super Bowl ticket in February, a little less than $13,000. And the highest priced seat in Kansas City for last night's game, that was just over $14,000. The Mets host their first World Series game in 15 years tomorrow night. The Royals lead the series 2-0. Washington Lee's football teams come out blazing this season after a poor showing in 2014. Last season, the Generals only registered 2 wins. Currently, they're 7-0 and ranked 24th in the country. They'll travel to Emory and Henry on Saturday for a 1 o'clock kickoff. VMI wide receiver Aaron Sanders was named the Southern Conference Offensive Player of the Year for his strong performance in the Keydets win at Mercer University last weekend. Sanders broke his own school record by making 16 receptions during the game. His old record stood at 13 receptions. The Keydets will host Wofford College at 1:30 this Saturday. The Southern Virginia University men's soccer team lost its last 2 games of the season this week, falling to Salisbury 4-0 on Monday and losing 8-0 to Frostburg State yesterday. The Knights finished 1-17 for their 2015 campaign. The Rockbridge County High School volleyball team held its senior night on Tuesday evening. Senior players Michaela Stafford, Cassidy Hopkins, and Macy Clemmer were all honored before the start of the match. While the seniors were sad to acknowledge that their final season is coming to a close, they could rejoice as they defeated Stanton River High School in straight sets. The Perry-McClure Fighting Blues improved their record to 6-2 after their 42-20 win on the road against Craig County last Friday. Perry-McClure will return to home action tomorrow when they take on Covington. Kickoff is at 7. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kieran. Sure is a lot going on this week in sports. As Halloween approaches, Buena Vista is gearing up for trick-or-treating down Main Street. Mac Trammell has more.
The city of Buena Vista will hold its 11th annual Spooktacular event on Friday, October 30th from 4 to 6 p.m. The Spooktacular lets kids go trick-or-treating not at neighbors' doors, but at businesses. Buena Vista's Director of Economic Development, Brian Brown, explains.
Spooktacular is a chance for our merchants in the community to be able to open up their doors for trick-or-treating for the youngsters in the community. It's a chance for parents to have a chance to maybe come by and see a business they didn't know existed, be able to look in and see something there and come back later and shop in the stores.
Brown stressed the twofold nature of the event, acknowledging both the safe way for kids to have fun while also addressing the opportunity for local businesses to increase their traffic. But he was most excited about the event's community involvement.
So it's the effect of being able to have people touch. It's a touch from the citizens to the business. And that's the key thing, is the more touches you have, the more chances your business has for the future.
Thomas Moore, Vice President and Branch Manager at Union Bank and Trust, explained how his business feels that touch.
For the last 11 years, what we do is we go on the corner and we hand out balloons. We build helium balloons, which are quite popular, and we hand out candy to the children.
Moore estimates that the bank gives out candy and balloons to about 400 kids every year. He also pointed out the public relations benefits of participating in the Spooktacular event.
It offers a lot of visibility for us, and that's, like I say, if you're down here, it's very interesting because it's pretty wild to watch all the children with all the Union balloons walking up and down the street. So it's great advertisement for us, and the kids enjoy it.
Along with Moore, Crystal Cunningham, who is the branch manager at City National Bank, noted the positive effects of subtle public relations.
It's not in your face, but it's more subtle, and I like that. You know, like I said, as a woman, as a mother, as a parent, grandparent, that's what I want to do. I want to work with someone who's going to get out there and work with children and be with children, and that to me is public relations.
Brown says that between the benefit for businesses and the fun for kids, the Spooktacular event cultivates the best that the Buena Vista community has to offer. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Mac Trammell.
The city of Lexington will hold a similar event on the 30th from 3:30 to 5 o'clock p.m. Children 11 and under will be able to trick-or-treat at businesses in downtown Lexington, and teenagers 12 to 18 years old will congregate on Hopkins Green for the 3rd annual Teen Halloween on the Green. Downtown streets will remain open during the events, so be sure to look both ways while driving and while trick-or-treating. And that is it for this week's Rockbridge Report. Stay tuned to see our sit-down interview with Buena Vista Police Chief Keith Hartman.
And election night is only 5 days away, so be sure to tune in to our live updates Tuesday night as we keep up with local elections. Thanks for watching and have a great night.